with one of the members of Guar there one time.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the guy was nuts. He was playing bass, I think, and he stripped down into his underwear and was ripping some crazy bass solo, and then pulled his tidy whities off, wrung him out into a shot glass, and then was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Should I do
man.
it?" And of course we egged
Oh,
him
of course.
on.
Like, yeah, at this point you've gone this far.
Yeah.
Where you can stop.
Yeah, we egged him on, so he down the hatch and.
Well, hell, man, how the hell are you, dudes? Good to see you, CP.
Yeah,
Finally, man.
Good to see you boys. I haven't seen you in a hot minute.
I know, man. We've been wanting to have you.
The last time I saw you, at least in person, was the show you guys played at Ice House. Like,
That's right.
Yeah, probably so. That was
right.
That was a fun show.
That was an awesome show. Actually, I was impressed.
I think it was that show right there.
Yes, actually, it was that show. Yeah, you blew up a poster of it. That's cool. Like, so speaking of, like, so Jim Grubb did the photography on that, right?
Yeah, Jimmy's awesome photographer, man.
Hell yeah. Like, I got to reach out to him because whenever Z Frequency ever does get to a point where we do a gig, I'd love to have a photo shoot with him just to have some press shots and shit.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, Jim's awesome. He gets some of the moments, like,
he's good live photographer for sure.
Yeah, he gets it.
Yeah, well, it's not easy to shoot at a gig because it's always low light and apertures and you white balance, all that stuff you got to factor in as a photographer, and it's a lot harder than you think. But,
yeah, I couldn't do it. That's for sure.
But yeah, I would love to reach out to him. Does he work for hire, or is it just kind of like he's just doing it for fun for you guys? But
I think he was doing it for funsies. But I mean, he's every bit as good as being pro.
I know his work, and I see him at all the shows. So I would love to invite him into the ZHZ family too. But
I'm gonna hook you guys up.
All right, cool, man.
Right?
Yeah. So usually when we do this format, you've seen a few episodes, you've been following a little bit.
I have.
We do. I love it. Thank you for the support, by the way.
Yeah.
So we usually do a past, present, and future. And what are some of the key influences that help shape your musical journey? Like, what got you into doing music?
Okay. Basically, like, air metal when I was a kid, you know, watching all those dudes shred, I was like, that's me.
Right.
That's going to be my life.
Right.
And, you know, so I was all of 14 when I got my first electric guitar, and it was not a good one.
And they never usually are.
It was
mine was a Flying V from a pawn shop in Ogden, and it was the shittiest guitar.
Because if you're going to buy
a
Flying V, man, you better get that shit at a pawn shop in Ogden, man.
It had a KJQ sticker on it that I put on it, you know, and it sounded like hot garbage, but it just looked damn cool, man.
Yeah, mine was a rip off of a Fender Squier. So
there you go.
It was
off of a Fender Squier, even.
It was pretty bad, but
hey.
I tooled around with that thing for quite a while, and then my aunt actually gave me a Martin acoustic, and I was living in a really bad part of town in Ogden, and we had a lot of parties in those days, and somebody stole it.
That doesn't surprise me, though. Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah,
and then like a week later, Matt from Sidewalk called me up, and he was like, "Hey, you should come and try singing for this band that we're doing." And I'm like, "Well, okay, that makes sense because I'm broke and I don't have a guitar anymore."
Well, and that's
we make do with what we have. Man.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, Sidewalk Religion was like a rap, rock, funk band in the mid-90s, I want to say.
Yeah, I think we went from, I got some notes here. We went from,
came prepared.
I think about 93 to about 98.
Okay. because I knew you played. And that's when I first met you, was during Sidewalk days, and we were in Catfish at the time, and you guys totally threw us a bone. Like, I don't know how we hooked up, but man, we ended up playing
several bones.
Yeah,
man.
like we played a lot of shows together.
We had a good time back then. That was the high life.
Before this show, Matt was suggesting, he's like, "Do you remember, like, I remember distinctly Basement Deviate, those gigs.
Oh yeah,
the shithole of a place was one of the coolest places to play.
The Basement of Deviate shows were some of the wildest. I mean, I remember. I mean, a couple of times, but one particular show where it was Sidewalk and Nine Spine and Catfish, and I think Old Soul. I think because that was kind of the gruesome foursome of those days.
Kind of
and man, we had that basement packed asses to elbows.
Oh,
and
we actually headlined that show. I remember this distinctly, and I remember coming up to you. I'm like, "Oh, look at this crowd, man!" And I remember you said, "Yeah, we should have been the headliners on this one, bro." He's like, "It's hot. This is fucking
not
hot."
wrong.
Yeah,
it was hot, man.
Yeah, I was like,
I think that was the show where
but...
Zach was up and he had his foot up on the monitor.
Yeah,
and he was reaching up into the ceiling to get some balance, and he pulled a plug, and like the entire stage went dark, and the
whole
amps went out, and all that shit.
All you hear is the drums.
He happened to like, well, yeah, the drums and the horns, man.
Yep,
drums and horns.
Right.
We kept it going until Zach got it plugged back in, and then. But credit to the band, man. As soon as the power was back on, they jumped right back in and didn't miss a beat.
Show must go on.
That was epic. That was an epic.
Those were good times, man.
Hell yeah.
I remember at those shows we'd sneak out to the back of the crowd, because if you kind of wandered back in some of those back weird murder rooms, you could kind of peek over the drywall at one point and see into the Dead Goat. And so, and kind of like peek over this little crack in between the wall and the ceiling, and kind of get a peek into what was going on at the Dead Goat and watch some badass blues, man.
Yeah, there was so much cool stuff about Deviate. I mean, and those giant pillars that they had that were like in the way of everything.
Oh yeah, they were the support beams. It's like you weren't gonna get around them, but I mean, and just like people getting knocked around, and oh my god,
yeah.
And there was only one way in and one way out, and it was a complete death trap. Like, you know what I mean? Like
you couldn't get away with putting on shows in a place like that these days.
No, not
in a second, man.
No.
But it was cool.
Fire marshal would shut you down.
Sure. Hell yeah. They probably didn't even know that shit was going on.
I mean, we got away with so much shit back then.
Yeah.
DVA was just like, they want to pay us how much to put on a show down there? Okay. Right.
Got it.
They were cool with it.
Yeah.
But and then so you did Sidewalk Religion for a while. That's where we met you. And then
close to 6 years. Yeah.
How did you meet Randall?
Okay, so it's actually just a continuation of the story I was telling. So I was in my car on my way to go down to try out for this band, and I'm at that intersection right there by the Layton Hills Mall, about to turn onto the freeway, and I look over to the right, and there's Randy. And I'm like, "Hey, dude," and he's like, "Hey, man," and I'm like, "Get in. We're going to go sing for a band." He's like, "Right on." Jumps in.
Wow. That's awesome. That's how it all started.
That's it.
You're like, "Get in." He's like, "Okay."
It was just one of those magic, like, timing, just perfect placement deals.
That is awesome.
Well, I mean, because I always, coming up in that scene, I always, really, really looked up to you guys, because of the fucking raw chemistry you guys had on stage.
Yeah, you were impressive.
You guys would throw down and playing off each other and everything. It was insane. You guys had such a vibe.
It was an incredible band to be in, because everybody was so different. But when we got on the stage, it was just all
business,
all business, all points go.
But off the stage is where, like, to me, you guys outshine for me as like the big brother sort of thing that I always talk about. Well, because you guys, like, not only, I remember one show we did, and I can't remember where it was, like the Lazy Moon or it was some some venue in Salt Lake, and it was like you walked in, you went down into this basement. And I remember we were playing, I think we were opening for you guys that night. And there was, I heard a story. I wasn't there because I think we were playing at the time, but Greg Ostertag from, you remember Greg Ostertag from the Utah Jazz? I guess he was walking around trying to find something to do. And he had said something. He was kind of peeked in and listened to us playing. He's like, oh, these guys sound like garbage or something. And Randall was there, and he says, dude, if you don't like these guys, you just don't know what's up. And I thought that was so cool. And I don't even know where I heard that from, probably from him, but I thought that was just stand up, cool as shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Randy's always been like that. He's a true mensch. Like,
right.
He's just, you know, he's always been a real good guy, and he's always been, and I think every opportunity he was ever given where he had a little bit of power, it was his prerogative to like return it back to everyone else.
Yeah, well, he definitely shared the love, and he had my respect after that. I was like, well, that's cool. I mean, I don't even think he ever come in. I think he just walked off. But yeah, kudos to that, man. Like,
I think that club used to be an old theater, and I think they called it like the City Club, or no, not the City Club. It was
it's been so many things because it's an exchange place. It's right there where the old, kind of in the same plaza where the old the Vortex Dance Club was.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's been several different. It was Lazy Moon, and then the Paper Moon, and then it was a gay bar at one point. And I think it's still doing it. It's still operating in some way, shape, or form now.
We played with one of the members of Guar there one time.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the guy was nuts. He was playing bass, I think, and he stripped down into his underwear and was ripping some crazy bass solo, and then pulled his tidy whities off, wrung them out into a shot glass, and was like, yeah. He's like, should I do
man.
it? And of course we egged
oh, of course. Like, yeah, at this point you've gone this far where you can just stop.
Yeah. We egged him on. So he down the hatch, and
nasty. That's so nasty.
But it was Guar, so
right. Well, yeah.
He had a reputation to uphold, man, really.
That's awesome. Yeah, so great memories with Sidewalk Religion. I have nothing but respect for that band. And just a side note, I got proposed, or Cory hit me up about maybe singing for a reunion thing that we did. And I tried it for a couple of rehearsals, and I just was way too busy, and I dropped out of that. So I don't know if are they still doing something? Because I know you left too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did too. So I got a text message from Jerry Carmen, the guitar player, the other day, and he was saying that they've got the other three members of Sidewalk together with apparently some other guy singing for him, and they're writing some new stuff, and they're pretty pumped on it. So I'll be good. I'll be super excited to hear it too.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. I felt weird walking into that scenario because, like, I felt like I could never replace Randy's shoes in any way, and I didn't even want to try, you know.
Yeah.
So like I came in there like,
I
stacked up against me, you know, and this is anyway. But
I think it's one thing when you're trying to write new material. It's a whole nother thing when you're trying to resurrect these tunes that have so much history and so much of what made that vibe, the vibe that it was the people making it.
Yeah,
those individual personalities,
right?
And you can't.
And I think I was more interested in doing the just like rehashing the old stuff, because that's where my passion on it was. But I think they were in the mindset of trying to write some new stuff. They wanted to, you know.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I just wasn't. I'm like, I can do that at home. You know, I don't need a band for that. So, you know what I mean? Like,
we have music at home.
Yeah, it's like we already done that. You know,
like an old mom.
I know, right? It's funny. But, and then I do want to brush up real quick on some other bands that you had back at the time. You did a side indie rap project called T-10.
I did.
Yeah. Share with that. Share your story with that.
So when Sidewalk kind of dissolved, just kind of Randy and we went on this other little journey and rounded up these other musicians. So we had Brant Bodley, Fred Thorne,
Fred.
and then Randy and I, and we didn't. I think we maybe played like 2 or 3 shows.
You actually played gigs too.
Yeah.
So I thought you guys were just like a studio basement. Let's put some crazy shit together. Because I remember telling you I have a cassette somewhere. I haven't dug it out, but I swear to God, I still have.
There was a few of them
cassette.
around. They're
Yeah. Oh, it's total bootleg. It was like I think you may have wrote on it, or Randy did, and I loved it. I remember playing that a lot.
Yeah,
and
it was pretty wild kind of stuff. But in fact, there was a one show that Randy had quit. He was going to do something else. And the guys were like, dude, we still have this show. You have to do the whole thing.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So I'm like, right. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'll try.
Right.
And then Randy ends up showing up at the show, and I'm like, great, dude. And he's like, no, I'm not here to play.
What?
I'm like, for real?
What the hell? You're
No.
not.
Oh, that's great.
No. He's like, no, I'm just gonna watch. It's fine.
Oh, what a dick. That's awesome.
So yeah, the show went on, and
He's just sitting there watching.
It definitely would have been better with Randy in there too, but we did it, and I think that was probably the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you kind of switched gears. So you got out of kind of the rap scene, and then you got into, and I think I might be missing some of the bands, but I wanted to highlight Sam because that was kind of a real changing point for you, and meeting Nick Huff. Do you want to tell me about that?
Well, so we knew Nick too from Dave and Nick's old band Oblivious Sun. So they were
With
also
Chris Cogsdale. Is that what his name? Yeah,
I think so. And so they were in kind of our friends playing together rotation
Right.
as well.
Network.
And network. And anyway, so I knew Nick pretty well, and I was in not a great financial situation, so I was staying in his basement at the time.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't, we were, I don't even know what. Let's see. These were the these were the years 2000 through about 2005, I guess.
Okay, yeah, early 2000, yeah.
Yeah, maybe even 1999 or so. But so Nick and I just start writing songs in his dad's basement, and we're like, these are pretty good.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to start figuring this out. So we called on Dave, and Dave was like, yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so Dave was your drummer for Sam.
Yep.
Okay.
And we started playing in Ron, David Dad's basement, and we played for months and months and had a pretty good catalog of songs before we even had a bass player.
Oh, okay.
And
I remember seeing one of your shows. I want to say it was probably Kamikazes, I think. And I think it was the first time ever watching you guys as Sam. And I remember, the one thing I remember most is that you had like 50 candles lit, right? And they're all over the stage. They're everywhere. Candles lit. And I'm just thinking, wow, this is just a massive fire about to happen.
Yeah, we were
like
waiting
all
to
these
go up in
incense
flames.
burning and shit. And it was cool. I was like, oh, this is really cool. But man, I'm afraid to be in here right now,
Yeah.
It's,
It was ambiance.
Just the amount of
Right.
liquor-soaked wood in that place.
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
the floor, but I mean, it was that. Yeah, it made me nervous. Like I was nervous for all you guys, but it went off just fine. But
the fact that it was an old church maybe saved us. I don't know.
yeah, but it was cool. It was cool. It's like I'll never see that again. Not without pyrotechnics or some sort of
Yeah.
exit safety plan.
Honestly, I'm
But-
surprised we didn't burn the place down.
I'm
but-
surprised they let you do it. It was like, yeah. Anyway, really cool though.
Tom's just shitting bricks the whole time. Oh,
I don't
Totally.
think he was probably on the other side just getting drunk. So who knows? But
Hard telling.
yeah,
But so then Nick and I, we were at this party, just a late in town party,
yeah.
house party, and we run into this guy, and he's like, yeah, my name's Dan, and I play guitar. And me and Nick both look at each other, and we're like, no, you don't. And he goes, well, yeah, I do. And we're like, no, you play bass. You play bass for our band. And he's like, nah, what are you talking about? And I'm like, we have a really good band that you need to play bass for.
That's awesome.
And he's like, well, I'll try. I'll check it out. All right.
Nice. So that's how you got Dan.
So that's how we got Dan on board, and then we played a ton of shows, and I think we played one of the very last. No, it wasn't even the Holy Cow. Still, it was now some squirrel thing or something.
Fat Squirrel.
The Fat
Yeah.
Squirrel. Yeah, I remember that place. We played there too. But
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we played there and a couple other places, and then it really started to pick up a pretty good head of steam, and we started kind of selling a bunch of places out and getting bigger venues, and we're like, okay, this is pretty cool.
right,
And-
you're onto something here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're progressing and then all of a sudden Nick just pulls the plug on us, and he's like, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm gonna go paint pictures.
Wow, just switch gears.
Yeah. He's
just
just like, I'm done with
Wow.
this.
No, and before all that happened, right? You guys actually got some A&R exposure, and
Yeah.
because I remember you talking to me about a possible record deal, or they were throwing that at you, and then you kind of did some digging on that. Share with the audience that story, because it's important. I think it's important to know, like, bands think that as soon as they get an A&R guy come up, oh yeah, we like you guys, we love you guys, let's get you signed. What that can really mean, because if you're not careful, it could turn out to just pretty much bite you in the ass.
Yeah, if you're not careful, it could really be bad. So we had a little bit of attention with Sam, but really that started off with Sidewalk.
Oh, okay. It was Sidewalk.
Yeah.
I misspoke. I thought it was Sam, but so it was Sidewalk. that
It
they did
was.
that. Okay.
Yeah, so we got, it was me. I was representing the band at a very knowledgeable age of like 25 or something, you know.
Right, because that's usually where.
It was a bad
This is
idea.
where all yeah.
But anyway, I go out to LA and I meet with Capital, and I meet with Capricorn, and I meet with Columbia.
All three of those, dang, they're all huge.
Yeah. And Columbia was pretty much like, nah, you know?
Okay.
And so they pretty much, I probably had a 10-minute meeting with them.
Right.
And
Wasn't what they were looking for. Well, at least they
Yeah.
let you. At least they heard it, you know, and they didn't just blow you off. But
Right. So, and they were all listening to the song Politis. And
okay.
everybody loved that song. I hated it. I never wanted to sing it again, you know, but that's
That's-
always
yeah.
the thing of your
It,
problem.
it always is.
Then I won't throw in here that, man, I fucking love that song.
Right.
No,
it's one
but
of my favorite too. You know,
it was a great song. I just, you know, after you play it and sing
a
it so
million
many-
times.
Yeah.
I
So
know. A girl
anyway.
like you, for us, for who
Yeah.
was, girl like you was like, if I have to play that song one more time, like, oh, we're gonna open with it, okay.
yeah, get it out of the way. Get it done.
Right.
You got to give the people what they
Yeah,
want to hear,
exactly.
Let's get it out of here.
so that you don't
Yeah,
have to play it again.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So then I go into the Capitol, and that was a better meeting, but they were kind of on the fence. They're like, don't call us, we'll call you, kind of a
Right.
thing. And then Capricorn Records, and they were like really serious about it. They're like, we love this, we want it, right? And I'm like, why? And
Yeah.
I asked him the hard question, and they were like, well, because we just signed somebody else that's really a lot like you. And I'm like, you did? And they're like, yeah, so we want to either push both of you or one of you.
Right. So they wanted to sign you, but then shelf you.
Basically. Yeah. And so that other band turned out to be 311.
Right, I was going to say it because I think 311 was signed to...
Wasn't 311 signed to Capricorn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that other band, and I'm like, okay, yeah. So I could have signed a 3-record deal with them, but it would have got me nowhere.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You never know, but at the same time, I applaud you for being cautious about, because there's a chance that you would have signed a 3-record deal and they would have never pushed it.
A lot of people would have.
Yeah, you would go to the studio and you would spend all that money and all that time. They'd front you all that stuff to do all of the things you need to do it, and then they will just be like, well, we're going to wait until if something tragic happens to 311, then we're going to push you out, you know? And if they don't, and you lose that end of it, then you owe that money. You know what I mean? Like you're paying that for the rest of your life. So
exactly.
Well,
right.
Now, and now you look at it, we're damn near 30 years later, 311 is still out there throwing pumping down, man.
So I would have been a spare tire forever. And,
yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to share that.
It was a smart move.
Yeah, I think it was. And it's funny because now you get to be our age, you know, and we're like, yeah, I wouldn't want it even if they offered it, unless, like, no, I'd rather just get a bank loan. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather do it myself. But all right, well, cool. So let's move on to the present. You recently were in a band called Against the Fire with Dave and Brad Lewis and Scotty Francis.
That's right.
And I believe recently you guys have since disbanded.
We have disbanded. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that was it was never meant to really be much. And maybe
bigger than it was, you mean?
Yeah. To me, at least. For me, it was just a way to keep my chops up and still have a good time, and progress as a musician. And
and you did, because I remember you said, "Hey, I'm in this band now, and I'm actually playing rhythm guitar, dude. I'm getting pretty good at it, you know." And so I mean, there's never like, you might have some good memories and some bad memories with an experience, but at the end of it all, like, you come out a better person. You know what I mean?
100%. No, I wouldn't take it back for anything. I had a lot of really great times. It was a good, fun band full of really talented guys, and I wish it didn't have to fizzle like it did, but
I get it. That's to Hooray Who's same thing. I mean,
such is life.
Yeah, who kind of fizzled out, and technically there's still supposedly a spark or a flame, some little candle in the back of the room still lit, but whether it gets any brighter or not, I couldn't tell you at this point.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah,
I think that at some point we probably will find a gig that finds us or something like that, give us a reason to kind of throw things back together. But
I don't even think it's a gig. Like, honestly, I think if we really wanted a gig, we'd just get a gig. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's places to call and they'd be like, yeah, come on down. Or
yeah, sure.
It's just a matter of, like, do we want to go through that again and get that?
Well, honestly, I think what it is for Hooray Who is that Zach had his time as directing the show, and he's like, and you know, we've got other things on the burners now, and it's like, if somebody else wants to book a show,
maybe if they want to book a show, we'll
consider it.
Then maybe. Sure.
Right.
If anyone pulls the plug on that, it'd be me. I'll be honest. It'll be me. You know what I mean? Like, I would probably be the hardest sell with everyone on that. But and then you're still, but that's not it, right? So you were in Against the Fire for what, 3 or 4 years, something like that?
Yeah,
maybe even longer.
It was about 4 years.
Okay, and the last show that we seen you guys play was at the Ice House, and Matt and I went there to kind of support all you guys, and I was glad I actually got to see you, because I don't think I've ever seen you. I didn't see you play live since, like, Sam, maybe. So it's been a long time since I'd seen you do a performance live, and you did really good, man. Captured the crowd. You commanded presence. You just looked like a freaking warrior up there, you know, and I loved it. It was great, and you did great. Like, I mean, I think you even did a Led Zeppelin's cover, and I was impressed by that. So Yeah, you guys, it was cool. Now those guys, that is Brad or Scotty, you guys keep in touch with those guys, or?
Yeah, I talked to those guys. I talked to Brad quite a bit. I talked to Scotty every once in a while. He's busy doing his own little projects and stuff. He won't disclose necessarily what they are, but I have a feeling that they're home improvement expeditions.
Oh, okay. He's remodeling his house or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that will keep you busy.
He asked me the other day if he could FaceTime me, and he's like, "What do you make of this?" And I'm like, "Oh, well,
I would maybe do it like this, or well,
yeah."
And quick intermission, folks. We've curated a Spotify playlist called The Guest List, showcasing the incredible artists who grace our show with their talent and stories. Dive deeper into their music. Plus, discover exclusive tracks by Z Frequency. Click the link in the description or search for The Guest List on Spotify. Enjoy, and back to the show. And what do you just share real quick? What do you do for your day job? Like, what do you do to pay the bills?
I'm a general contractor, so
right. So all about construction stuff.
Yeah. So he was calling me up with a railing question, and I had to tell him what he was gonna do wasn't gonna work.
Oh yeah. Well,
so
bless his heart, but
steered him into the light.
Right, the right way. Yeah, there you go. And then what about Brad? Is he playing any like music? Is he just kind of living dad life at the moment, or?
He's dad lifing, and there's so I put out on Facebook, I don't know, a while ago, I was like a whole picture of like all my guitar stuff, and I'm like, I'll show no go, or I'll go no show, or whatever.
Right.
And so a lot of the music community like came back at me, and they're like, "Really, dude? You're not doing anything right now?" I'm like, "No." And so I had a lot of responses back and forth with that. And there's some other people that Brad and I are setting up with right now that they want to do kind of a new metal revival, which kind of right down my alley.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Have you guys done rehearsals? You guys starting that process?
So we're setting up the meet and greet here for probably next week. So,
okay, so this is a brand new project.
Yeah,
then.
Brand new project.
Nice. Well, that's cool. I'm glad to see you guys still doing something.
I got to do something local because my, I'm still
bind. I was going to bring up the bind. Yeah.
And that, for as cool as it is, and as much fun as I have doing it, it's just not the same as being in it and
live. It's not live.
It's not. Well, it is live because I usually travel out there.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you miss the live. There's that whole aspect of being in a band.
Yeah,
is the performance.
And the digestion and the coming together of these songs that were
right.
2 days ago they were just some riff I came up with, and now it's living and breathing and doing cooler stuff. But
right.
Yeah. So
as far as the bind is a project that you and Nick Huff are still kind of putting stuff out here and there, because Nick actually lives in Virginia? I think
he's in Illinois now.
Oh, he moved to Illinois. Okay.
Yeah.
But so it's like one of those situations like Z Frequency, so they write music back and forth, and then they work out that, and that's still together, right? You guys are still doing stuff together. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
And then Freak Breed is kind of another similar. They guys pretty similar in sound.
So Freak Breed would be the Mad Season to the Alice in Chains.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it does. Yeah, definitely.
That's a very apt comparison right there.
Yeah. Right. And then okay. And then Freak Breed, is that still a thing too, or is that?
I think that one might have fell off the edge too.
Okay. So right now you're holding on to the bind, And then you got this new project. Do you guys have a name out of that one yet? Or
No,
not?
I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we'll have to have you come back when you guys are out together, and we'll promote that for you.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It'd be a good time,
soon.
man.
Too soon. Yeah. Cool. And I guess we're going into the future now. So right now, that's pretty much what you're focusing on right now. Is the Bind have anything coming out or working on or?
Yeah. So Nick is kind of ever vigilant. The guy is a machine. He
Right.
he
Hyper
usually
creative.
Yeah. So he comes up with a lot of stuff, and then I'll usually set aside about a week or so, and I'll fly in, and we'll just basically lock ourselves in the studio. He'll show me what he's got. I'll say, oh, I like that. What if I did this though on this guitar part? That kind of thing.
Right.
And get it all tuned up. And then we'll spend like the last 2 days just
Tracking.
just singing and screaming and
Everything you got.
and giving her hell. And
Right.
and that's how. So we have 5 albums out now.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite the discography, to be honest with you. It's impressive. Like, I didn't even think about it that long. I remember, and I want to say it was the Bind. You hit me up. And this is like 2015, 16, somewhere around there, maybe 17, right around that. And you hit me up and you say, hey, I'm in this new band. I want you to check it out and listen to it. Tell me what you think. And I'm like, ooh, did you have it on MP3? You get email? He's like, no, man, I got it on a CD, bro. And it was like, I'm gonna, like, yeah, we're old school. I'm like, all right, yeah, I still have a CD deck, I can put it on my Xbox, I guess. So,
That's exactly how I have to.
yeah. So he dropped it off, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, it brought me back to like the old school Seattle, Alice in Chains, heavy heart, heavy like moody, brooding.
Grimy,
grinding and driving. I'm like, wow, this is definitely mood music for sure. It's definitely like, it's part of like, I want to say part of my past during that time, during the 90s or whatever, where like it's super contemplative. It just invites you to look inward and like pull out all the ugly in life and just like sit in it for a minute, like, can you believe this shit? And it's like you're sitting in it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like it. Yeah,
it's a great way to describe it.
Right. And I loved it. And I said, yeah, this is kick ass. So, but yeah. So, all right, man. Well, I've got. It's kind of a shorter episode. We can just shoot shit or whatever. But I wanted to ask you. We're gonna do like a little clip. I wanted to ask you some follow-up questions.
Sure.
How has your experience been working with Nick Huff, and how does that collaboration influence your music?
So Nick and I have always been like very like-minded as music goes, and as we aged together, then I feel like we're even more like-minded as people.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, I get it.
Kind of like that old, your dog starts looking like you, or that kind of a thing. But
right.
And he's super, super easy for me to work with. We almost never disagree on anything. So
it makes a good working relationship.
It makes a great working relationship to where we don't have to argue or banter about what direction this song is going.
Right.
We already know.
Right.
We just need to put in whatever it needs to finish it.
Right. Well, or it's just, where you get to a point where you're like, it's more of a trust thing. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
It's like, I trust that your vision or whatever is going to be what, I'm not seeing it, but I know you're seeing it. So we're just going to roll with it. And that's usually, and I think that's where things can fall apart, if there's too many chiefs in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there's
Zach mixing metaphors and shit.
there's
Too many.
too many chiefs in the kitchen, huh?
Yeah, that's a double whammy, right?
All right, man. Yeah.
Nice.
Too many Indians cooking. You know what I mean? Like,
That's what it is, man.
What it is.
That's what it is. Chicks
right.
can't
My
hold their
bad.
smoke.
That's right.
That's what it is.
They don't want none of this smoke. That's what it is.
But man, that I mean, honestly, it reminds me in a lot of ways of how Zach and I operate. We've been creating together for so long.
Yeah, you guys been
on
doing this
such
forever.
such a level. I mean,
Too long.
with no way, man, not long enough, dude.
Well, I'll be
We're not
doing
on
it
the
till
ground
I'm
yet.
dead, but yeah, it seems like I was just telling him. I'm like, I was telling my wife. I said, all of the stuff that I love to do, like I'm really passionate about, freaking love the stuff, makes no money at all. You know what I mean? Like I wish I was into trading, stock trading or something.
Right.
Nah. I want to do music that doesn't pay the bills, but
For
we're good
sure.
at it.
I can
So it's
relate.
like, yeah, it's all right. I mean, I'm at the age now where I'm like, I can afford the stuff, so that's like cool. And now it's the time issue, like now I don't have the time to work on the craft as much as I had before with no money,
Yeah.
But
it
yeah, you're
almost
right.
seems like we were better at it when we were broke and working on 4 tracks.
Right. Yeah. It's funny you bring up 4-track because we had a conversation about 4-track last night, and I still have my 4-track recorder, and I'm always tempted to like pull that out and just do like a mini documentary of like recording a song or an EP from start to finish and what that process was like for us dinosaurs, But then everyone I talk to, they're like, yeah, have fun with that. But
I would do it with you, bro.
I would be cool. All right. Yeah. And that
I
was the
think,
other.
you know what? I think it'd be a blast to do that and actually just and get together. And part of the documentary is writing songs together on the fly to record on it and actually record. It'll be a shitty album because we're not going to put a whole lot of time and effort into the
it's
songs.
going to be on cassette, bro.
But it's going to be on cassette and on a 4-track anyway, so that's appropriate.
Appropriate.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I
People dig
mean,
it,
Zach
though.
and I
It's like
sat
a
down with a
niche thing.
4-track back
Yeah.
in the day and just decided we got nothing to do tonight, man. What should we do? Well, let's see how long it takes us to write and record a song.
That's
and we
what
did about 2.5 hours. We wrote a song called Shovel to the Head.
That's right. T-10 was like my heroes with the 4-track. Like that was a 4-track golden nugget there. I loved it.
That was an incredible feat that we pulled off, not even meaning to really do it. But
Right. Well, it almost seemed like it was like, yeah, let's just roll. You know what I mean? Let's roll and come up with some shit. And like, and it was almost like it didn't matter how good or bad it was still awesome because it was just like, it was 4-track. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I got to find it. Now I got to find it.
Dig it.
Yeah,
I
put me
hope
on-
you do.
It's
do,
in a
I'm gonna need a
box
copy.
somewhere. If I do, I'll find a way to transfer it and
I'll
make
go
a
down
copy.
I'll go down to Savers or DI right now and find us a double cassetter.
I think I have one actually. I'd have to find that too. But yeah. So anyway, all right,
Well,
man. And then
Cory, man, you've had such an extensive background in so many different genres. I mean, we've talked about the different phases of your musical journey and everything from funk, rap to metal to kind of to grunge and with the things that you've got on the burners now and going forward.
sorry.
So what do you think sets your music apart in the industry? What is kind of the X factor in the music that you're involved with that kind of makes it unique?
Oh man, good question. I think if I was more unique, somebody else would have picked it up by now. But I think really just the people that surround me that I do the music with are really the X factor for me because they get it. They understand what I'm trying to do here. And so like even in ATS, we did a mashup song, right? Where we went from The Doors' The End into Pearl Jam Release into Coldplay Fix You.
Right.
And like that's psychotic.
Right. It is on the surface. It seems, but it actually didn't you perform that set?
We did.
Yeah, and I thought it was like, damn, this is
Worked,
good.
man.
But it
totally
worked, right?
It worked, and it was. So yeah, I get it, man.
So if I had to answer that question, Maddie, it would be the guys I surround myself with and their willingness to push boundaries and envelopes or supposed barriers, right?
Right. You're
That is
good
a
for
solid
whatever.
answer,
You're like,
man.
yeah. In fact, I was going to ask, Matt and I were talking, this was a while back when we were talking about having you on the show, like months ago. Matt was like, wouldn't it be cool if we did like a Z Frequency song and had CP featured on it? Like we do like a 3-rap part or like get 16 bars or something.
Let's go.
All right, man. I knew you would say no. So I was like, I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll do it for sure. And
Yeah.
all right, well, I haven't written anything yet, but it's coming.
We'll figure something out, man, because I've wanted to spit lyrics with CP for a long ass time.
Let's go, Maddie. Let's go.
Hell yeah, dude.
We got like 150 some odd years experience between us, man.
No
so.
kidding, dude. Look
That
at these
is-
gray beards.
I know. I don't have one, but if I grew it out, it'd be the same.
We have enough for you too.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, if you do, put some right here because I'm losing that shit. You know what I mean? But all right, so I got one more thing to ask you, and this is for up and coming artists, those just starting out. But what would be 3 pieces of advice that you would give somebody who's about to play their first gig on stage?
Ooh, okay. Number 1 would be practice, practice, practice. Prepare. Be ready. Be shiny. Right?
Right.
Nobody wants to come and pay the $5 cover at the door to watch you practice.
Yeah.
They don't.
No, you're right. They don't. And
So,
they'll let you know.
and they will let you know that that's not what they're there for.
Right.
And that quite maybe you suck. You know?
Right.
So practice, get shiny, get good.
Polished. Yeah.
Polished.
Polished it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
That's good advice. Practice is important. Like that should be for step 1 for sure.
yeah.
Know what you're going to be doing when you get on the stage.
Okay. And then opinions of the people matter only to an extent. If it's constructive criticism that you can take and make yourself better, then take that criticism. But if it's just some drunk ass telling you that you suck, like shrug that off.
Yeah, you don't need that.
You don't need to take that with you.
Right.
So that would be my second piece of advice. And just when you're there, execute. Don't be afraid to execute, but also don't over execute. Like,
What do you mean by that? Elaborate on that.
So if you, like, you can get, sometimes, you can be there and that crowd is just with you and you got them and they're just eating out of the palm of your hand.
Right.
And sometimes that feeling can get so robust that you feel like you need to maybe throw more notes in that awesome solo that you have shiny already.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Or
Don't
you-
overinflate the situation.
Or you're gonna hit that high note and really make that killer scream, or like, just try and stay in the moment and execute and try and just give them what you think your music can offer them 100%.
Right. And you don't need to give them any more.
No.
Like, yeah, don't overdo it. It's just like,
yeah, there'll be more
don't-
shows. Don't
Right.
make this the coup de grace or perhaps your epitaph.
right.
Yes.
Or decide, hey, I'm going to try stage diving for the first time, because the crowd may not be
Always.
into that.
Always a crowd pleaser.
Right. They
Yeah.
just move to the side.
Whoop,
And then
like Moses parting the Red Sea, maybe.
I'll say one other thing that's kind of off
right, bonus
topic
tip.
here,
All
but get out and talk to the crowd after your shows and really ask. And a lot of times I didn't even really need to ask. I'd have people come up to me and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, that song means so much to me. And
Right.
it means this to me, and it means that to me." And a lot of times I would be just flabbergasted because that's not at all what I wrote about.
Right. And Matt, yeah, I always loved whenever that happened because
Yeah, it's an incredible feeling.
right. Well, and it got to a point where somebody would come up and say, "Hey, you know that song, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Yeah." And it's like, what did you write that song about? What did that mean? And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. What does it mean to you?"
Right. Yeah. Don't
You
be
know?
so quick to cough up what it was to you.
Right. Because usually
Like,
it
let
don't.
them explain it. Because
Right,
a lot of
and then
times
Theirs is
their
their reason
song
for
is
loving it is
way
way
better.
more. Yeah, it's a way more epic story, and you're like, "Yeah, that's what I wrote it about,
that's-
bro." It's like,
of
that
course.
one- yeah, exactly.
Well,
So,
and what it means to them is a big part of why we do what we do,
right,
to
Sure
make
is.
that connection with people, because
100%.
it's kind of one of those things where you can't be afraid to, don't be in a bubble on the stage. It can't be a bubble. You've got to be aware. You've got to be, look at your crowd, engage your crowd, make eye contact, try to
Yeah.
make eye contact with every damn person in that room
Every
at
one
some
of them,
point
yep.
of the show.
I try to,
Because you're-
but Jenny always like, "You always close your eyes when you sing." I'm like, "It's a habit. I'm working on it. But yeah, he's right.
But so many times though, you'll be able to witness that moment when
Correct.
you're
Yeah.
playing a certain song that means this to somebody, and you get to share that moment with them.
Yeah.
And when you lock eyes and you see that person is having one of those, experiences listening to this song and having that
Connection.
moment for themselves, and you
Yes.
get to connect and share it with
Right.
them.
Yes.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
you
truly
can't
one of the
duplicate
better
that.
feelings on the planet that I've experienced is
It's a rush. Yeah, it's the ultimate rush.
is that. Yeah. Just being just open and because when I was younger, I thought, oh yeah, because there was this whole ideology in my head that like that those people weren't even human. They were like these unattainable
Shadows, shadows on the wall.
these cool
Yeah.
things. But through all the playing and stuff that we've done and meeting all the cool bands that I've we got to play with Clutch, we got to play with
I
Seven
just noticed that
Dust.
T-shirt. That's awesome.
we got to play with all these cool Incubus,
Right.
Snot, and just some really cool people, and meet some really cool people, and it turns out they're just like you,
Right.
So
They're just like you. They just further along the road than you are.
yeah.
Yeah, but I agree with you too, Cory. Like, get out after the show. Don't be a dick. Don't be some prima donna. Like, thank the people for being there. Thank the
100%.
people because they went out of their way, spent money, and to see you. And even if they didn't see you, they came to see the other band. Still thank them.
Yeah,
because
for
they
sure.
did witness. Like, always have gratitude because bands are what's going to keep you coming back to do shows, and the more I think you can share that camaraderie with them, make the more you can make them feel like they're part of the band, the better
Yeah.
they're gonna feel, and you're gonna feel, and yeah.
Yep, and they're gonna bring their friends, and shows are gonna be better. The scene is better because really back in those days that we were talking about, the early days, that's just how it was. Everybody was
Right.
buddies. Everybody hung out. Everybody
supported each other.
Yeah,
because
so-
it was tough. Like, we didn't have social media, we didn't have internet, so
No.
everything was flyers and word of mouth, and you ended up with a circle of network, if you will, like Cory was saying earlier, of bands that you would cycle through. Like you would set up a gig and you're like, shit, I need a band to play with, and so you just go down this list, and so you're one night you're headlining the gig, the next weekend you're opening for the band on some other place. So absolutely, those are great tips, man. And don't be afraid. I would say, if I was going to add something, I would say don't be afraid to if you do mess up, keep it going. Don't act like you messed up. Don't make some big scene at the end of the song like, oh, I totally blew that song or whatever. Like, the worst thing you can do is make a deal out of it and then announce it ahead of time.
Worst thing you could do is expose
it, right?
Yeah, because if they noticed it, they already noticed it, and if they didn't, then why point it out?
Yeah, and 90%.
Yeah, and I guarantee you,
not going to really notice it. Yeah, exactly. About 90% didn't notice.
You know
didn't even care.
When you're engaging your fans, even if they do notice, they don't give a shit.
No, they don't.
They're not going to. Oh well, Cory fucked up that verse, so I'm not going to come see Sidewalk Religion play ever again.
Right.
It's never going to be like that.
No. And that was that's a lesson I learned one of our first performances with Deep Blue when we played this company party at Lagoon. It was like the end of the season company hoorah thing, and we had a couple songs, and we rehearsed a little, but not a lot. And our performance was anything but great, but nobody cared. Like, I'm looking out in the crowd, everyone's having a good time. And after we were done, I was like, yeah, I totally messed that. And like, I didn't care. You know what I mean? Like, it was a party. Who cares, And at that point, I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have to, you just wing it. Just have fun with it.
Well, you got one up on me. I never got to play Lagoon anyway.
Hey, man, Lagoon, baby.
It wasn't Lagoon. It was for
we both worked there.
Of Lagoon.
So it was the summer of '91, and that's the summer Zach and I met. We were hustling for games.
That's right.
And we met and kind of put our first band together that summer, and we got to play the end of the year games department employee party.
That's right.
Awesome.
At the Davis Pavilion.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was like, ooh, Mr. Davis, you're playing at your own pavilion,
Is that where the Beatles guys play?
Nah.
I don't know. I know they make a haunted house out of it during the
it's just one of those picnic pavilions up by the Flying Aces and along that
right
stretch.
Off Midway. Yeah.
Cool.
It was cool. It was fun. It was a great experience for like my first job, Lagoon actually is not a bad place to start for a first job because you're only making minimum wage, but all of your little group of employees, are mostly the same age, and they constantly will do like after hour parties, and they even had like, you never went hungry because you always could buy like these little meal ticket booklets and they would just deduct that from your paycheck. So you never went to work without food because you could just take $20 or whatever. And then they had their own little private employee cafeteria that you could buy like a burger or whatever. And
but it had this, so if you remember back in the day, none of it's there anymore. But as you were heading up toward the mini golf course, on the left there was a building, and then there was a big like one-way window,
mirror.
It was
like a
mirror
giant
on the
mirror.
outside.
But that was the window.
That was the employee break room.
It's still
that was
there,
the employee cafeteria. And so we would be sitting in there eating, and be girls coming by, checking themselves out, fixing their hair in the mirror and stuff like that. And we'd send somebody out, say, hey, we all took a vote. We all think you look fly.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my gosh. Yeah. But it was cool, man. It was cool. And like, you didn't ever really make any money, like by the time you got your check, it was like chump change. But it gave me something to do all summer long. And I met Matt, and I met my other friend. I met so many friends that year that I'm still friends with today, that I would have never met had I not worked there, so kudos. Yeah. Like I just have, I feel blessed to have had that experience. But all right, man. Well, anything else you want to add, Cory? Like where can people find your stuff?
So the Freak Breed just released an album last year, at the end of last year. That's out on all the Spotify's, all the everything's,
okay.
All the YouTubes, all the there's
DSPs.
Mm-hmm. The Bind is the same way. You can find all that stuff. All those bands except for Sam. Sam would be the hard one to find, and I think you can still find that on Dave's L-Town Productions page.
Oh, okay.
And
right.
Reverb Nation.
Oh, okay. It's
Yeah.
still around. I know.
I think
I get emails daily from them. They are still around.
okay.
And
I
it's
haven't
funny
checked it in a minute, but
they have like this chart metrics, so like you're number one in the,
oh yeah,
Davis County charts or whatever. And for a long time, Z Frequency was, then we got bumped out by some, I don't know what it was, but I didn't care for the music at all. It seemed like really poorly done. It was poorly written, but whatever, they bumped me out, and I was like, I was laughing at that. And then I went back to one for a while, and then I got bumped out again, and all of a sudden I'm like third or fourth, and then the band that was in front was actually really good. They were a really good band, like right out of high school, like that high school indie rock band.
yeah.
But they were really good. I was like, damn, I really want to, maybe we should get them on the show, but I don't know if they're still doing stuff or not. But yeah, Reverb Nation is still a thing. And I always considered like paying money to upgrade, so I could submit to all of these different things they have going on. And I never did. I was like, I can't. You know what I mean? Like, I never did. Like, I don't know how real this shit is, And then like I'll eventually, like once every 6 months, I'll go on there and I'll be like, oh, there's like 4 email messages from different people, like, hey, we're asking questions, and I'm like, answer it 6 months later,
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, I just saw this,
A new phone, who dis?
Yeah.
Right. Well,
So,
Sidewalk Religion still has a Facebook page, and
oh, that's cool though.
yeah, I haven't. I don't.
Are they even Sidewalk now, or is it just a new band, like a new?
No, I don't think they'll probably run under that name, but
Yeah.
I think they'll probably.
My opinion, they shouldn't, because,
Right.
I mean, for one,
If it's a different band,
it's such a
band.
kick-ass name, man. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I couldn't blame them if they wanted to, because when you're trying to come up with band names and everything, man, Sidewalk Religion is such a great band name. It really kind of embodied who you guys were with your original lineup and what you brought. And for me, that's what Sidewalk Religion means.
I love that.
Is that vibe in that time.
Yeah, I don't think they'll run underneath it, but if they do, it wouldn't hurt my feelings. But
Right. Yeah. It is.
especially
it is
if
what
they're
it is,
writing all new stuff. But yeah, I also agree with you, Maddie. I don't think they should.
but- Yeah. I guess at this
What-
point, it's like, well, it's up to them. If they do, they
absolutely.
do. If they
One
don't,
man's
whatever.
opinion, and
But
Yeah, they're-
especially this
there's-
man, my opinion counts for shit.
Yeah,
and all
mine
that,
too. So
yeah.
they're 3/5 of what it was. So
Right. Yeah. So, all right, man. So, and then people can find you on, you have Facebook and Instagram. I know I see you more active on Instagram. That's kind of more of your home.
yeah,
And
I'm that
Facebook,
guy
or-
that sends reels like constantly to my buddies, and
Right. All right.
I
But
do that. But
I'll leave
And
a link to it if you want, and just
Sure.
people want to get in touch with you and learn more about whatever you're up to and all the cool shit. And dude, you're a brother to me, man. I've known you forever.
you guys too,
and-
man. You guys
Yeah.
too. Both
We've
of you.
been, man,
Yeah.
I think that it is so damn cool that after all these years, I mean, it's crap, is damn near 30 years since even Catfish started on the scene.
100%.
And that all of these years later, here we are, we're still creating, we're
Yep.
still playing, and now we're getting to dictate the terms of how we do that now.
I love that. I wouldn't.
And that is really cool.
Yeah. And let's do this mashup between us. Like,
Yeah.
I'm.
No, I'll work on something, man. I'll think of something cool. I think it's something cool. Like I keep thinking, like, so last year, all of the songs that Z Frequency put out were very different from each other, and a lot of that had to do with like all of the songs were written like 4 years ago,
Yeah.
and it was before it was before Who Reunion or any of that, and so I would just kind of like randomly get up and like write something like, oh, that's cool, and then it just shelf it, and I had all of these different songs, and some of the stuff I would write on a cigar box guitar, which sound completely different than stuff I'd write on like keyboard, and now there's now I'm at the point where like I've exhausted all of those tracks, and so now I'm going to write something new, and I have no idea what that's going to sound like, but I have a feeling it'll be interesting. Either way, I get something together, I'll throw it at you. And
I tell you what, if you need some inspiration, go back to the old school and find that Judgment Night soundtrack.
Yes, I love that soundtrack.
That
is one of my favorite soundtracks of all. I know, right?
It has everything.
That is one of the coolest damn albums ever
made.
Ever made. Yeah,
ever made.
I agree.
With some of the most unlikely collaborators.
And they do such a great job.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. That's actually a good idea. So I think I have that somewhere on CD somewhere, but I can always just Spotify it,
CD,
but,
what the hell's that?
Right.
Or would I put my beer on that thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a funny looking coaster, man.
A funny story is that like my daughter for Christmas, she wanted a vinyl record player, and that's what she got.
Mine too.
And, really? Yeah.
No shit.
She wanted cute little suitcase one, that's got the built-in speakers, and she loves that thing, and her first 2 albums are both Taylor Swift albums. But I'm like, yeah, it's cool,
Yeah.
I taught her how to, flip the vinyl and spin that wax, and she loves it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, one of my sons several years ago, that's what he wanted. That's what he got. And I got him Bob Marley Legend on vinyl.
Happy.
Here you go, man. There's your first, that's your first record. Now, years from now, when somebody says, hey, what was the first record you ever owned, man?
Yeah, there's a good question. What was the first record you ever owned, Cory?
Oh,
I tell you what, Grease.
Like the soundtrack?
Nice. Nice. So I remember one of the first albums I remember listening.
Or Kenny Rogers' The Gambler. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's a good one though too. Those are actually really good though, man. Growing up, I remember as a kid listening to, it was Scary Stories Halloween time, and it had like the Monster Mash and all of these like different sound effects. Like there was one where there was a sound effect skit of like somebody being buried alive, where the dirt's like hitting the coffin, and the guy's scratching like, let me out.
Yeah.
It was my mom's album. I never had it, but my first record, period, that my first vinyl was Autograph.
Autograph.
Yeah, one hit wonder. Yeah, you remember the song "Turn Up the Radio"?
Yeah.
Turn up. Yeah. The radio.
Yeah. Give me some more.
Yeah, that one. Right. The only song
mine was
ever does by them.
Mine was Duran Duran, 7 in the Ragged Tiger.
Nice.
Also
the Reflex, New Moon on Monday, Union of the Snake.
Also an epic album.
Right.
Yep.
So
was
there
Wild
you go,
Boys
kids.
on that one?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
That was that one before it.
Yeah.
That was a good song too, though. But there you go, kids. Like you will remember your first vinyl. Like
you will.
Never let that go. So.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, I think that wraps it up. We'd love to have you on again, man.
Oh, man, it'd be a pleasure. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, man. When you guys get together and have the project to be named at a later date.
Yeah.
Together
might be
and you've got some stuff going.
Yeah.
Then let's get you boys back in here and we'll talk about what you got going on and where people can find you.
Great.
Yeah, I'd love to have Brad on. That would be that'd be the next series of this, man, is to have we could probably do the whole band. I can have up to 6 people in this room at the same time, including me and Matt, so 8 total.
It looks like it's all Brady bunched on the screen.
Like Rubik's Cube.
But hey, man, we all lived through the pandemic. We're used to that shit now.
Crosstalk is almost always the case, So, but usually
that's the tricky part, man.
It is usually you're like, okay.
or
try to designate one or 2 guys to be the main talkers.
What was your favorite part of that? You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah. You're right. Cory? Yes. You're up.
Love it, man.
All right. Well, take care, brother.
All right.
That's it for today's episode. A huge thank you to Cory Peterson for sharing his incredible journey and insights with us.
Be sure to follow Cory on his social platforms to see his incredible work. And stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll feature Trevor Noakes, a mixing and mastering engineer from Cambridgeshire, UK.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment. Your support means the world to us. Till next time, keep the music alive. Peace.